everybody. Well, I am here at the Bureau of Land Management office in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And I'm here to find out what I got written up for, if anything, which was my understanding that I did. And if I did and I cannot appeal it and get it off my record because I didn't do anything wrong, then I'm here to get a copy of the report. So wish me luck. Here's what happened. My friends and I, after my meetup at Rice Ranch RV Resort in Quartzsite, Arizona, we went for the weekend, and I had made the reservations back in October to treat everyone to a weekend on the river, buy some water, and for some R&R after my meetup, especially those that have helped me. Volunteers, and it included Tim and Stanley from Solar Team 4, and they did a lot for me at my meetup as well, and my friends. And we pulled in and immediately just got yelled at by the hostess there, the camp hostess. And I tried to tell her I was told that this was okay, and I forgot until the next day, and I reminded her that I had even come by and met her in person and had told her that I would be bringing a lot of people in at one time and had reservations. And anyway, so I reminded her of that the next day, and she goes, "Oh, I know, it's okay. But what she did was she called the ranger, and the ranger came out because she told him that I was argumentative and confrontational with her, and I wasn't. She was in her RV and yelling through the window. I had stopped at the stop sign, and she was telling me that I had too many people, and I said, well, we're only doubled up in one site, and the guy on the phone at recreation.gov had told me that was okay, and she said, well, you can't do that. And all I said was, well, the guy on the phone told me I could, and I was going to say, but we will do whatever we need to do. And she interrupted me and said, well, the ranger will be out here to talk to you then. And Robert had gotten out with me, and we were both just like, whoa. And like I said, she was already yelling at us as soon as we got in. She's like, you freaked me out bringing these many people in. And you know, and then she came out with her clipboard and everything. And I feel bad that we freaked her out, but I didn't do anything wrong. And I said, well, we're going to go get settled in, and I'll come back up and talk to you. And she goes, well, you don't need to talk to me. The ranger will be here tomorrow, and he'll take care of this. And I was like, okay, just be sure you tell him, please, that we are, whatever he wants us to do, we'll do. And she goes, I'll tell him you're being nice. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I didn't think too much else of it. I just figured she was thinking it was over her pay grade and she'd turn it over to him. Well, he came the next day, and I didn't know. I found out later because she told me two days later that she had told him I was argumentative and confrontational. And my friends and I were sitting there, and she came to my campsite to tell me that. And I was, well, actually, she walked up and she said, she said, wow, that was really something, right? I asked him why he brought the Leos. And I'm like, that's a good question. Why did he bring the Leos? And she goes, well, because you were arguing with me and confrontational. I'm like, no, I wasn't. And my friends were like, no, she wasn't. And she's like, well, you're arguing with me right now. And I'm like, this isn't arguing. I'm just letting you know that I was not being argumentative or confrontational. So anyway, it doesn't go well with that hostess there. I can just tell you that. And we also heard her telling a camper across from us where our friends Giselle and Gray had been camped, that though these people just pull in and park anywhere and never check in with me, and they just pay whatever they want to, and it's supposed to be one day at a time, and they paid for two. Well, she's the one that told us for them to pay for two. So she just kind of, to me, it seems like she makes her stuff up as she goes along. And so this ranger came out, and he was ready. He was loaded for bear because he'd been told I was confrontational. And here's the other reason. It wasn't just because of me, but it was because 2 times before that in the past few months, they've had trouble with van dwellers. People that come out and think they're entitled, or people that are listening to people that are anti-establishment and saying it's our public lands and we do what we want. and you know, and we need to break the rules and change the rules, and you know, anarchy type stuff. And if you know anything about my channel, you know that I am totally by the rule, by the book, do what you're told to do, work within the framework of our rules, laws, and regulations. I am one that says yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, how high do you want me to jump when it comes to law enforcement. The rules are there because usually people have pushed the rules so far that laws had to be made. So if it's anybody's fault, it's people that bend and push the rules and call for anarchy. And I'm tired of that. I'm going to start speaking out against that. So that was the problem here. He came thinking that I was going to be one of those. And as soon as he found out that I wasn't, he started backing off. But I had made all these reservations in October because I knew I was going to want to treat my friends to a week at the lake, or a weekend at the lake, the river. And I put them in my name. Not once did recreation.gov, and I called back on the 800 number for recreation.gov and made 2 more reservations later on, and not once did they ever tell me that I couldn't have multiple reservations in my name. Well, it turns out that it's kind of a federal offense, I guess, to make multiple reservations in your own name, and you're not the one in the site. Well, I'm sorry, but that's an employee problem. That's not, I didn't know. Now that I know, you have to change the names into whoever's going to be in the spot by the time you arrive. Okay, I could have done that had I known. And now I do know, and I will make sure that I do that from now on. But I didn't know at the time, and so he explained that to me, and I said I will make sure that I next year, I won't be going back there if that same hostess is there. I can guarantee you that. And I hear that from more and more people that they do not go to Crossroads Campground anymore since she's there. And I get it. I know why now. But so I don't think I'll be going back there. But I know now any reservations I make, if I reserve multiple sites, I know to be sure and put the multiple sites in the person's name that's going to be staying there. So that's good information for you. Don't go through what I've gone through. Learn from my mistake, which wasn't my mistake. It was the employee's mistake that took the reservations. They should have told me. Anyway, so I'll make sure I don't do that anymore. And then we did have 2 people doubled up, but they were camping there together, and I told him, well, some of us travel as couples, and Robert had his own reservation and he was up on the other end, and I said Robert and I used to travel as a couple and we would want to stay together. And anyway, so he let me not get by with that, but, and again, the person on rec.gov, I had told them that. Anyway, so we had to pay extra, and I don't mind. I am a go by the books rules kind of girl. So we paid extra. I was appreciative of that because when he pulled up, his options were he could have kicked us all out and given me a fine or arrested me. And I was just like, whoa. And so we're in the middle of all these talks, and 2 Leos pull up in a truck, and they came out and they had their flak jackets on and their pistols on. And it was really, really very intimidating. And they were very nice. I don't want anybody coming in and bashing Leos and bashing our government and doing that anti-establishment and anarchy stuff on my channel. That is not my channel. I'm just telling you what happened and how I was feeling. And they asked him how it was going. He said, just fine. They're being very compliant. We've got it worked out. And they shook hands and they made small talk for a moment and they left. But the fact that Leos were called in because of past knuckleheads that give van dwellers and this nomad community a bad name just doesn't sit well with me. If you're being a knucklehead and think you're anti-establishment and you want to bend the rules and push the rules, you're not helping anybody. You're not helping the nomad community. You're not helping van life. You're not doing anything but making things worse. And if you're out there on a channel and promoting that, shame on you. And that's all I got to say. So they were very nice, and they left, and we finished up, and he told me what all we needed to do to be compliant, and I corrected some of the things he'd been told. She told him we were doubled and tripled up in every site, and that we'd shuffled around at the last minute, and no, we didn't. We had people that came in with us knowing full well that they might not be able to stay with us based on availability because they were extra beyond the reservations we made. turns out there was spots, and so as soon as we found that out, we actually went back to her and asked her what to do, and she told us, you know, you can stay in those 2 spaces for 2 nights. Go ahead and put $10 in the envelopes, and we got change. And anyway, we weren't doing any shuffling and all that she relayed, and we were just getting settled in our campsites. And I kind of forgot where I was in the story because I got off on a tangent, and I apologize for that, but I'm very passionate about this. And oh yeah, and so anyway, we had all these people, and told them that and they parked in my campsite. That's what I was going to say. They parked in my campsite till we got all that settled. As soon as they found a space that was available, and had there not been a space, they would have left. But we found a space that was available, and they left my campsite and went to their campsites. They were never going to all triple up in my campsite. So if you're a work camper or a host, be careful what you relay to rangers and Leos, because they only have to go by what you have to go by. And if you're telling them people are tripled up in a space and shuffling around and trying to get by with stuff, and you don't even know what you're talking about, you create havoc, and you create panic, and you create them being on guard, and there was no need for that. And as soon as he realized all of that was not correct, we were good. But now I have to go into the BLM office and find out, because just before he drove off, he said, well, I'm not going to ticket you, but I am going to have to write this up, and it'll be a flag on your name. And he kind of said that as he was driving off, and I think he didn't mean to be doing it as he was driving off, but with my brain injury and everything that was going on, I couldn't process it. And as time went by and my adrenaline went down, I was like, wait a minute, what did I get written up for? And what did that mean? And so that's what I'm here at the BLM office to find out, and let's go in and see. Okay, that went really well. I met with the office manager, Caroline. She was lovely. And just as I was walking in, the 2 the 2 Leos that had come out reporting, they were like, hi, how are you doing? And I'm like, hey, and they rolled down the window, and I asked them, did I get written up? And they're like, no, not at all. And we appreciate you being so cooperative and answering all of our questions and cooperating with Ranger Dan. And they were very nice. And so when I went into the office, I was more at ease. And I just relayed to Caroline the experience that we had with the hostess. And she reminded me that hostess all day long deals with people that give her a hard time, and she's constantly cleaning up after people. And I can tell you, for one, that I know that more and more out here, people are more and more disrespectful for laws and regulations, and they don't seem to have the same camping etiquette that we used to in cleaning up after themselves and leaving a place cleaner than when you arrived, and all of that. And so I do know that it is tiresome for law enforcement and people enforcing rules and regulations, as well as camp hosts and camp workers, work campers. But anyway, I feel like it was a positive experience overall, especially here at the field office. I really appreciate the staff. And we enjoyed our stay at the lake. It was loud. That's nothing to do with them, but I do hopefully it was a nice reminder for and they'll go back and talk to the camp host. I'm sure they will. That not all of us out here are knuckleheads, and that maybe give people the benefit of the doubt. So I'm still a little bit nervous, so I'm glad that I'm making this film so I can sit here for a moment and relax before I head out. But it just goes to show you, if you talk to, work with, and be personable with the people, especially Leos, they are usually, been my experience all of the time, willing and ready and eager to work with you and have a positive resolution, as was the case this time. And it turns out that I don't have a flag on my name. They write it up so that if I do a repeat offense, then I will have a flag on my name. And of course, I will not do a repeat offense. I learned what you need to do and not do in multiple reservations, and won't ever make that mistake again. And I hope you don't either. And so keep on keeping on. Please like, subscribe, and share this video so that others can learn how to work with law enforcement and BLM and other agencies, and what you can and can't do when you're making reservations for multiple sites. Thanks. Ring the bell for notifications too on future videos. And if you're interested, please become a patron for as little as $1 a month, where I talk about the behind the scenes stuff that I don't share in videos because it's a little more of a private forum. All right, everybody. See you down the road. Keep on keeping on. Bye.